You, you got a lot of sun today, man.
Yeah, it'll. I've been getting out in the elements a little bit more.
Well, you look good, man.
Yeah, that's what everybody keeps telling me, man. Yeah, I had crow's feet real bad, and then I quit smoking,
Hmm.
and crow's feet kind of went away. I'm not as wrinkly as I used to be. I got more color in my face. I feel better.
Does
Um,
smoking do that to
yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah. So it messes with your circulation. So
Oh, the
it
blood flow to
starves
the
your skin.
skin, which causes, yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
it starves your
sense.
skin. That's why you'll see like some guys out there that are like 45 or 50 and they look like they're 70.
Gotcha.
It's yeah, it's
Hmm.
horrible for their skin. So
Gotcha. Huh. Huh. No, you look like you've lost weight. You look great, man.
I don't know what I weighed when I started working up at the hospital, but I can tell you I feel good now. It's I went to the doctor and he got me straight on some things, and
Yeah, I can
they
tell
started
you
getting
you got
better.
a little bit of that energy trying to get when we're trying to get that connection going. See a little bit of that
Man,
Viking rage starting to stir up inside you.
I know it, man. I was trying to get it done. I went to the gym today. I went swimming today, and I went to school this morning. I went swimming, then I had to go to the gym, and my gym session ran a little late. And
Yeah,
let me get home, and I was hungry as a hostage because I didn't eat much today.
yeah,
And so I needed to get my protein in, get my
yeah.
salmon because I gave up meat for a while.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's been
I
yeah.
didn't know
So
that.
I'm just so yeah, just pescatarian right now. I mean,
Oh,
I'm not going to go out of my way. Like if I'm somewhere and all they got's like chicken, then I'm going to eat chicken and love it.
right.
But if I'm at home and I'm where I can control what I eat, it's going to be fish or seafood,
Hmm.
shrimp, scallops,
Hmm.
um, mussels, fish.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, man,
Well,
it's a lot of plant. It's a lot of plant based, but I don't have like terrible gas anymore. My stomach doesn't hurt anymore. I have more energy. I
that
never
makes
feel
sense. It's
bloated.
easier to digest fish versus
Oh,
beef. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean I love beef. Don't get me wrong, but
Hmm.
like every day, that's what we eat in America. Every day you've got red meat. It's on the menu, and it's just kind of like like everywhere else, it's not like that. They got
Uh,
they got other choices. So
yeah.
and right now it's just better if I don't. It makes it a lot easier because
Yeah.
I can eat something like like just eating vegetables and fish. I can like a 12-ounce tuna steak is I think like still under 400 calories. If I eat
Yeah.
a 12-ounce ribeye, I'm going to pay for that and probably be
Yeah.
miserable. I'm going to eat it. I'll eat every bit of it, and while I'm eating it, it's going to be awesome, right? But but no, no, I don't need to do that right now. I feel too good, man. Let me get shake some more weight. But since my doctor's appointment, I've lost as of today 25 pounds.
Wow. That's great, man. That's great.
Yeah,
So,
man.
what is some of the benefits that you can tell from the weight loss?
Um, well, right out of the gate, man. Before I went to the doctor, other than the clothes fitting good, I'm not out of breath anymore. In fact, I can just about keep up with anybody in stride. Um,
Hmm.
so I don't know. I guess the smoking really helped. Like I got more wind,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I'm getting more wind as I lose weight. So, but no, man, I feel better. Uh, the clothes are starting to feel better. I never feel bloated.
Hmm.
Um, never feel like I've eaten too much. Um, and I'm kind of anxious to get the rest off. I have to keep reminding myself that it
It
takes a
takes
lot of
time.
time. It took me 20 years to get this size, and
That's right.
if I do it right,
That's right.
it's only going to take me a few months to get it back down.
Which is
Uh,
amazing if you think about it. It's with true commitment and discipline, you can drop the weight and it's not hard to put back on too, but it is It is a journey, but I noticed just by looking at you physically, you look like you're sharper. Like you look like you mentally look sharper. Not like you didn't before, but you seem just looking at you, you look sharper.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I feel sharper, man. I feel like I'm firing on all cylinders right now.
Hmm.
Like I'm just wide open. I get up in the morning and I just spring out of bed about 5:30 every morning. Like that's
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even use an alarm clock anymore. Like that's
Yeah.
I hate alarm. And now I just wake up and I just look up and I'm staring at the ceiling like I guess it's time to get up.
Yeah.
You know, right out of bed and I don't lag. I do get tired about 9:30.
Yep.
That's about my bedtime. But
Yep.
I sleep all night. I
That's
sleep
good.
better too.
That's
Yeah,
good.
man. So I'm sleeping so much better. My daughter said that since I quit smoking and I have lost weight that I don't hardly snore anymore. So
That's good. That's good,
yeah,
man.
man. Like yeah, it's pretty wild, man. I'm kind of stoked about it. So
You should be.
losing 25 pounds in 1 month is already that's pretty average when you start anything, right? So if I
That's
was to
still
go,
really good
anybody,
though.
yeah, but I mean, if anybody, you hadn't worked out in 20 years and you go and you say, hey, let me go hit the gym and do an hour of cardio every day because that's my minimum. I do at least an hour of
Yeah.
cardio. Yeah, it's going to come off pretty quick. So
Yeah.
it'll be a while before I plateau because I'm doing really good. So
That's good, man. Well, I mean, aside from the physical changes, I mean, you've got a nice, good job now. Well, not you didn't have good jobs before, but where you're working now, it seems like it's where you should have been building up to what I've always believed that you were going to be eventually where you are from a work standpoint, from a profession standpoint. I always felt that way.
yeah, I mean, I didn't see it coming. I don't think I've seen. I think about the last 3, 4 years, man. It's been a wild ride, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, for you, what when we got back in touch, what 2015, 2016?
At least
Uh,
because the minor was back in 2017 because it was tagged inside of a picture. So it's been at least a good 7, 8 years, man. That's
yeah,
wild.
man. Yeah, man. You kind of had a front row seat to the action too.
Yeah. Yeah. All I need was
It's
some more popcorn. I mean, it's like Deadpool and Wolverine, man. That had its funny moments and it's had its action moments and it had some sad moments.
know it, man. It's the roller coaster's kind of planed out now, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with having a normal, boring,
Boring
happy
life.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I have no
I've had all the
desire for exciting.
yeah. Like I'm enough. My daughter even says, "She's like, Daddy, you got plot armor. Like I've never heard anybody do the things you do." And I'm like, "Baby,
That's
I'm not
amazing that
really."
she knows plot armor. That's a good word. That's a great word for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because
Yeah.
it's been a wild ride, man. I never thought I'd be where I'm at now. Never thought I would be in a position that I prayed for uh, back 2 years ago,
Hmm.
2, 3 years, and then here I am.
Yep.
Like you can't make that up. Like I mean, I know y'all got the wish letter. Like I know y'all still have it. George has it. I know it sent it to
I
y'all.
know he does.
Um,
I know he does. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
and I'm nearly there.
yeah,
So
prayer works and miracles do still happen. So I don't care what anybody says about there not being a God or miracles don't work, don't still happen. I know they still
well,
happen.
they do, man. And I think I had to go. I think we've talked about this, but I think I had to go down the path that I did. I don't think I would. I probably wouldn't be as good as I am now at it. I think I had to take the long way in order to get there to be effective. I mean, I don't regret or feel bad about anything. I think it made me better. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same way about in some ways about some of the things I've gone through in life, and you know, um, would I do things differently? Yes, I would, but it would, I don't think I would have the skills or the weapons or the tools at my disposal now. Um, Without it, I really don't think so. It just does make me regret not starting certain things earlier. But sometimes when I think about that, I think about, well, even if I had started it earlier, the technology, society, it wouldn't be where it is now. So it still would have taken time. So it's good that I'm doing it now than not at all. And that's the only way I can really look at it. It's better that I'm doing it now than not at all. Yeah.
Yeah, man. No time like the present, as they say.
Yeah.
You always
Yeah.
got time. If you got time to think about it, you got time to do it. Believe it or not.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, you can sit there and think about it. You can do it. So thinking about that is pretty wild.
Yeah.
Man, it's been a wild. I say about 5 months now. It's been
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And the wonderful thing about our conversations is that you can go back and you can kind of listen to them again. And these are records for those that are going to come after us. The ones we love the most, of course, but anybody can pick it up and listen to it, and hopefully relate and pick something out of it and use it, because ultimately we're all born in this life with a set amount of time, some shorter than others. But if you're born here, the opportunities here, they're just unbelievable. You just got to go get it. You really just got to go get it, and find somebody that's willing to pour life into you. All you got to do is just find one person. You don't need a tribe, but if you get one person, that's enough.
Man, I think, being honest with myself, I think we all have there's a small army behind anybody who's anybody. Somebody had to help me. And, I like to think that I help other people, but there's no way I'd be the most idiotic thing I've ever said is I've done it all on my own. It's
No,
not possible. I
no,
would have never had a chance if I'd done it all by myself. That's craziness.
yeah,
There's a lot of people on the way. You one of them, but there's been a lot of people that have helped me get to where I am now.
yeah,
A lot of luck, a lot of divine intervention.
yeah. Sounds like there's a little bit of reverb or something coming from the phone or something. Something a little bit. Yeah, let's see.
Sound a little better.
Yeah, a little bit better. Oh,
Is it not better?
I think so. Yeah,
How about now? Is that better?
that's better. That's better.
Okay. I was up here in Elmore County. I should have called you from my. Should have called the Zoom number from my hotline number.
Yeah,
I may do that just in case.
yeah.
If it gets bad again, let me know. I can call it. I got Vonage on my phone. I can make a web call, and I got full bar here in the house from my internet. So,
Well, how about we do that? Let's do that real quick.
all right, I will. Nobody's selling the weight bench. Let me know, man. I need some dumbbells and
Yeah.
need a little weight bench for the house.
Yeah. Uh, I'll check around. There might be somebody I know that has some.
I looked on Facebook. I thought about just getting one, like just getting it. They're like $200
Yeah.
for. I'm not trying to be Mr. Olympia. I'm just trying
Or
to.
even just two 20 pounds, one for the left arm, one for the
Yeah.
right arm. You don't need a whole set. It's just the reps,
Well,
really.
So like last week, I noticed a strange spot on my hand. It turns out one of the wonderful patrons left me a prize in the form of a ringworm. So
Oh,
I'm not, yeah, first time I've ever had it in my life. I recognized what it was, and I went and got the medicine. So I mean, I'm not contagious anymore. It's still a little
well, thank
spot on
God
it.
for
But it's like, yeah, I don't
glad
really
you
want to
worked on
touch
it
the
quick.
equipment.
No, yeah,
Yeah, and I don't want to buy like those elliptical machines and the treadmills and
yeah,
all. Those things are thousands of dollars, and the
right,
home ones are horrible, and
yeah,
they're heavy, and you can't move them, and you can't sell them when you don't
no,
like it. It's yours.
yeah,
It's you get rid of those things. They're everywhere because nobody will buy them. And,
right.
they break really easy, and I just don't. I'd
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
just run the
I just
gamble and
get
risk.
two dumbbells, 20 pounds, and just do enough reps off. I mean, think about it this way. I mean, that type of stuff. I mean, back in the day, how you really got a workout, you were just out there working, slinging a hammer, you know?
Man, I'm not like I said. I'm not interested in trying to get big. I just want to tone up.
Yeah, you
I
just
read an
want to have
article.
some strength.
Well, I mean, in order, like if you when you diet and you're already cutting your calories. So if you're too, so like if I'm not careful on cutting my calories, my body will start eating my muscles. One of
Right.
the ways you can defend against that is to work out. It'll tell your body like, hey, can't do that,
Yeah,
and then eating
it's amazing.
before. So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
you don't really like people don't realize like you can't just there's a reason there's healthy weight loss. You can't just not
Mm,
eat. Like fasting, okay, and I do that when I'm not hungry, and I thought that I would put on more weight when I stopped smoking.
mm,
But what I realized is that I hated the taste and the smell of cigarettes.
mm.
So oftentimes I was trying to drink something sweet or sugary or eat something
Uh,
to get the taste off of it.
really?
So
Huh.
I would, yeah. So I would sit there and slurp down, regular soft drinks all the time
Mm,
because I'd smoke and I'd have that nasty taste in my mouth.
hmm.
And I hated the smell of cigarettes. I always have. Um,
But you
but
just liked
yeah.
how it made you
So
feel?
I had associated smoking with relaxing,
I see.
or taking a
Yeah.
step out of the office. The way I'd associated it, like, there's nothing relaxing about craving a cigarette if you
Yeah.
think about it.
No.
It's pins and needles, man. You're like a cat on a hot tin roof, right? So
Yeah.
um, it's wild. And then I think it was pretty rough. My first, before the Wellbutrin kicked in, I'd already made a conscious effort to stop. So I'd swapped over to the patches and
Right.
I'd swapped to vaping. And then I read up on vaping. Nothing's safe when you're
I've heard that
sucking things
vaping can
on.
hollow out your bones. Is that true?
I don't know about that.
You might want to
What I
Google
what I
that.
use vaping for, I've heard. So there was a study in one of the colleges, I think it's one of the colleges in England, and they did an experiment compared to like cigarettes, like side by side, because we don't
Hmm.
have the data for long-term vaping on your
Use.
lungs. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just going
Yeah.
to take years, so we don't have that yet.
Yeah.
But like they just did a standard cotton ball test, and if you look on like YouTube, you can see the cotton ball test. Like you'll see after a couple of cigarettes, cotton balls start turning, dark brown, or if
Black.
it's hard,
Yeah. Yep.
things, yeah, they'll build up. Well, the vape, it doesn't do that. So by their assumption, they said it was only vaping may not even cause 5% of the damage
Hmm.
that that smoking does. But
Hmm.
I mean, if you go at anything really hard, you,
Yeah. It's
you're gonna
gonna hurt
you're
you.
gonna
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
There.
Like
That's
I
why
remember,
everything is moderation is the best way, simply because it's moderation. Everything has its own cause and effect consequence. I mean, you overeat, you get overweight. You don't eat enough, your body starts eating itself. It's
mhm.
it's too far left, too far right. You gotta go straight down the middle.
And that's not really hard, man. But either going down the middle or going extreme, especially from my experience. I've done both.
Yeah. Yeah.
natural. Oh man, but no, man, quit smoking. I don't know why. I guess the other reason, other than just associating it, thinking that it was a relaxing thing, because there's nothing relaxing about smoking a cigarette. Now that I'm done with it, I don't have the
Right.
cravings like I used to.
Right.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I guess the other reason I did it too is, when I was younger, that was kind of one of the ways I could act out. Take that.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm cool and edgy. I'm a rebel. I smoke.
Yeah.
So now I got to find cool and edgy
Now
ways
you
to do it.
now you're 40s and everybody else does it too, you know?
Yeah, there's no reason to smoke. Like I could just, that's Blake.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, man, it's my great grandmother died of lung cancer. She was one of the ones that passed away during the time when the tobacco companies got sued, where
Uh-huh.
they had, misinformed smokers, where they, at first it was, I think Lucky Strike was one of the first, and this was years ago. They went through a little thing where they'd actually paid off government scientists and officials to not say it was harmful. And finally,
Oh,
they were
wow.
like, "Hey, yeah, yeah." So eventually, there was a lawsuit filed, and I think my great grandmother was one of them, but she ended up passing away with lung cancer. And then, my mom, she died at 47 of COPD,
Hmm.
and yeah, I think it's probably stupid that I smoked as long as I did, but I think it's a good thing that I quit.
It's a
Being a
very
third
good thing.
generation.
It's a very
Yeah,
good thing.
man.
It's how you break
My
this
daughter.
cycle is by doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. 'Cause if I'm not breaking enough already, just put one more on the list. But I feel better, man. I didn't like it. I was self-conscious about it. Um, it's and the much as much energy as I have now,
Yeah.
it's not. It's really night and day. I think I think I told you my daughter was laughing at me because now when I smell cigarettes from other people, I'll
Get
whisper
disgusted by
things,
it.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm grumbling. I can't. They're so nasty. Why do they want to do that right there? And my daughter's like, "That was you 3 weeks ago, Dad." you know, and I'm like, "No, but was I that bad?" She said, "Yes, you were." And now you're over there being a hater. So, somebody needs to tell them. So,
Well, also too, when you go a different way and you're that other way, I mean, you just can't. You try turning back to it, and you just can't because it just flips. It's like a magnetic effect putting a north and a north together. They just can't. They'll just repel each other. And once you get to be that way, you just don't do it anymore. It's hard for other people to understand that are that are in it, you know, but you're just not in it anymore. And the people that understand or have been there, they get it and they completely understand. But there's going to be some that don't, and they may give you a hard time about it. And like with me with the stop and drinking thing, I was at an event Tuesday, I think, and one of my coworkers, she went and got a beer and she asked me if I wanted one, and I said no. And then, and I think she had noticed that I hadn't. So it's like, James, do you drink? It's like, no, I quit about a year ago. And she's like, oh, okay. And it's like, yeah, it was for my health. And it is. And I have moments where I want it really bad. And instead of denying it, I accept that feeling. I talk about it. I don't try to hide it from myself. It's the
right.
hardest work for me not to drink versus drinking. It's harder for me not to
Yeah.
drink. So, and it's kind of a point of pride, unfortunately. So I just got to be mindful of that ego side of myself saying, I hadn't had a drink in 20 years. And next thing you know, I'm having a drink and I'm way so far off the wagon, you can't even find me again. But at least I
Man,
know that about myself.
that's crazy because as much as I used to drink, I don't really crave alcohol. Like I never was. I would crave other things when I drank.
Yeah.
I would want to go to the next step. And,
Right.
you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like it would lower, like alcohol would make me want other things. It would be like
Right.
after I had a few in me, I was, hey,
It was a
what else
gateway.
can we do?
It was a gateway
Yeah,
for you. Yeah.
yeah, it's showtime. How much damage can I really do tonight? Let's find out, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and for
now,
you, see, for you, it's cigarettes. Like you just that's was a part of who you are. For me, it was alcohol. But see, cigarettes never did
mm,
anything for me. You could say, "Hey, James, you want a cigarette?" But yeah, I could be like, "No." I mean, it's just that easy, you know.
yeah, same way with alcohol. Like I said, and I
Hmm.
think other thing that I knew, like I did for years, I don't now, and I've gotten to a point now, like when I do my little meetings with my employees or whatever, I'll have a beer. I think
Yeah.
I've got a 2 beer conversation is what I'll give my employees. You know,
Yeah.
I'll have 2 Guinnesses or something dark, something with a
Yeah.
little stank on it. You know, something I
Yeah.
can taste. You
Yeah.
know, then that's it. Like
Yeah.
once I do my little weed, my little buzz, and that's it. I don't want any
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
And if that means I waste half a beer, I just waste half a beer.
That's
I'll reach
right.
a point where I stop. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I could have done that. I don't think I could have done that. Only 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a lot easier now. I think for me, man, it was having the putting it in the right place. You know, I'm less
Hmm.
likely to do what I used to do if I'm sitting at a restaurant. You know,
Hmm.
with having your employees or friends around that
Yeah.
care about you, it makes it easier to have you hold yourself accountable.
Right.
You know, at a bar, you can find anything you want:
Yeah.
trouble, drugs,
Yeah.
alcohol, whatever you want,
Yeah.
you can find it at the bar, right? So,
Yeah. Well, and that's also too, that's what you're learning is that in professional settings, it's not the same as when you work at a restaurant or a bar. It's, you're kind of held to a higher standard. And so
mhm,
knowing that you're held to that higher standard and that you have so many people underneath you that you're responsible for, if you're aware of that, you kind of know that you've got to unfortunately, you represent, as an employee, especially a more of a senior level employee, you represent the company at all times.
yes,
And
sir.
that's just something you have to be aware of as part of being in a professional environment. The only time that you can kind of get away from that is if you just own everything outright. If you're 100% owner of the company, then the only person you're responsible for is basically your customers. And that's where you have to have really good self-discipline, because if you don't, then you can go off the rails real quick.
Yeah, it doesn't take much, man.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Not in this
it
life.
doesn't take much. No, I mean, I think the other side of it though is I feel like I got so much going on that
Yeah.
I'm going down the right path. Like
Yeah.
maybe this is why anybody quits anything. You know, if you want to get anywhere, you got to sacrifice things.
Yep.
Um,
Anywhere
and
good.
then at the end of the day, anywhere good, like anything worth doing is going to be hard. You got to give up
Hmm.
things. And I recently gave up gaming. You know, what a couple of months ago I was selling gold, and now I've moved on. I can't be a college student, a director, and a healthcare company, and game. Like I can't do that all. So I had to make a
Not
choice.
right now.
You know, so
Not right now. Yeah. I mean, it's not that you can't game forever. You just can't do it for right now. That's one of
well, I
those
don't know,
things
man.
you had to give
I
up.
may not go back to that. Yeah, I may not go to that.
Yeah.
It's a time consumer. Playing
Yeah.
games like that, it's easy to blink your eye and oh crap, 4 hours have gone by and
I
it's
tell
three
you
in the
what,
morning.
NCAA football was one of my games back in the day. Me, Wade, Leo, and Billy Bob all playing
Um,
NCAA football. Man, when they brought that game back into the NCAA football 25, I instantly just went back 20 years. It's just
Man, how have you talked to them guys lately, man?
Yeah. I talked to Billy Bob Friday. Leo, I talked to him. Was that?
How is Billy Bob doing? Him and his
He's
kid
good.
doing?
Yeah, they're good. They're good, man.
It?
You know, all of us have kids, you know? We all have kids now. Which is just amazing. That's the out of that the original four group, all of us have kids. The next original four group, Derek obviously has three girls. Uh, you know, Billy Bob has his boy. I have my two. Zach is still single. So he's out of that second four group. I maybe one day, maybe one day he'll settle down. But he knows he's getting older. He knows he's getting older. You know,
Yeah, man. It's different out there, though. It's a lot harder
it is.
to meet somebody. It's
It
not the
is.
same.
No.
Well, I'm used to going out and actually meeting
Yeah.
girls or whatnot, women, and like I'm not a like I can do the app thing. I mean, obviously I can. I know how to use that stuff, but
Yeah.
I don't know how. Like when I was younger, and you heard about guys doing that,
Yeah.
you're like, oh man, you met her online. That's crazy. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
and nobody does that. Then there was like it kind of created this block. Like, well, I guess I'm not as cool if I was to do that, so I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
it. But now it's like I have to explore other options.
It
I
had
certainly want.
it's well, I would say that if anybody were to try to date now, I would recommend that they try first through the church. Go through the church first because that is where if I hadn't met Jill, I probably would have met somebody at the church. And it's probably so Jill and I, we've been together since 2013. So that's, 11 years. So imagine how much has changed in the dating world in 11 years. Technology, people faking who they are, um, women in general being disappointed by the type of men that are out there in the world, men themselves changing how they react and how they date. It's you as you are probably a very rare type of find for a lady because they're needing someone that is who they say they are, you know, has a job, you know, is loving, is caring. I mean, there's plenty of them out there, and they're probably at the church more than anywhere else. They're not perfect, but they're there.
I'm not big on perfection, man.
Yeah.
I've got a few dings and scratches myself.
Yeah.
So,
Who doesn't?
I don't know, man. It's something that's been on my mind more. I certainly want to get in better shape, get some other things handled. I'd like to get a little more school down.
Yeah,
I like
no,
where I'm
no,
at.
no. Focus on yourself first. That's the best way to do this. Yeah, definitely
Yeah,
keep focusing on yourself.
yeah, yeah. So how's Derek doing, man? I
He's
hadn't heard
he's
from him
good,
in a while.
man. He's good. Yeah, he's good. It's fascinating that both him and you, uh my friend Aaron, y'all have y'all have been a part of this journey to have find better jobs, to find something better in their career path. So I can't remember which school closed. Was it Brubaker? Maybe it was Brubaker, or but he was teaching at one of the schools that closed in Montgomery. And so he really wasn't even worried about getting a job. I mean, but now I think he's has the opportunity to be teaching at Valiant Cross Academy. So, I mean, it's they're what they're doing as far as teaching and things like that. He's always been a part of the public school system, and I for a while I've kind of been advocating. It's like with how you are and how you teach, I think like a more of a private school setting may be better. They may value, even though it from a pay standpoint, it may not be the same, but but what you want to do for children and helping them education in their future, I think more of a private school setting might be better if that's what you still want to do. And so I gotta follow up with him to see because I think he's starting either this week or next week to see how he's doing. But he's doing good, man. You know, 3 girls in
Good.
the house and a wife, that's a lot of women. That's way too much estrogen.
He's probably losing his mind, but at least he's doing good, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Our episodes together, they're always like our time together away from our ladies. And thank God I've got a son now too, so at least I'm not out completely outnumbered. uh
Yeah, he evens the playing field, huh?
yeah,
That's all.
he does. He does.
Still eating
He
good.
oh man, he's eating good. He's a chunky little fella.
That's awesome, man. That's
He's a
great.
little tank. That's what he is. I love my son so much. I tell Jill all the time, I've never kissed a boy so many times on the cheek as I kiss this little guy.
And get it while you can. You know, he get
Yeah,
older. I'm like, come on, Dad,
yeah,
can't do
yeah,
that.
yeah. It's like, of course I can do that. I'm your father. I love you, son. Come here.
Well, so how's Chad doing? Is he still working with what's his face?
Yeah, yeah,
Was it
he's
Mark?
doing good. Yep, he's still working with Marcel, and I think he's got maybe like some type of a part-time job with a vet clinic up in South Carolina. I think I'm not sure exactly how that all works, but he's still Chad, man. He's still shaking hands and kissing babies. I tell you, I wouldn't have been surprised if like in another life he ended up being a politician. I mean, the guy is everywhere. Everywhere.
He's a hard dude to keep up with, man. Every time I turn
Yeah, he
around,
is.
he's taking a picture with somebody else, and
I know.
you know,
I know.
doing big things.
He's always doing big things, and I have absolutely no desire to do that. I'm more of a I'll be in the background or just not in that scene. I go to that kind of stuff, but I'd rather not. I'm those days are behind me, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, man. Chat takes networking to a whole other level. Like
Yeah,
I
he
can
is.
network, but that's
Hmm.
that's that's almost like just work in itself. Like I just can't. If
Yeah.
I see you out, great. If I don't, that's okay. I'll
I'm
live.
okay with that.
Maybe.
Like I said, it in another life he could have been a politician, man. I mean, he's got a knack for it.
But he's young, man. Who knows? He might end up being one. He's got a long way to go.
I know
You know.
that's why I'm thinking that I'm not going to count Chad out because this. Do you know he wrote a book a while back?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This was when he was still or maybe it was when he got his condition. But yeah, no, it's called Crimson Dream. Hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick. Let's see. I think I've got it in my library.
I see you got a nice little collection there. I like that.
Uh,
That
Thank
is
you.
a very that's a sharp looking bookcase, man. I like that too. I
Yeah, I
like the
put it
design.
together myself. Yep, here it is. Found it. Chad better pay me some endorsement money for endorsing the book.
There you
Yep.
go.
You can
Hold
buy it
it
on
up. There
Amazon.
you go.
You can buy it on
There you
Amazon.
go.
Yep. Yep.
That's
Look it up
awesome.
though. That's him right there. Yeah. The Crimson
I
Dream.
have to look it up, man.
Yeah, man. It's on Amazon, so
I have to check it out. I have to check it out, man. I'm an Amazon Prime member. See what I got.
but
I'll
also
put
you're
get
an
put it.
Alabama fan too, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what though. I mean, if my daughter ends up going to Auburn, because I think that's what's going to happen, then I'm going to be an Auburn
Well, obviously.
fan.
Only a I like at the end of the day, I really wouldn't consider myself an Auburn fan. I went to Auburn as a result of dad getting sick and coming back from Florida and moving back in the house in Montgomery. He had
Yeah.
an aneurysm It wasn't the aortic aneurysm; it was the first aneurysm. So he
Mm.
uh, so he came back to Montgomery from down in Orlando. So I was at Hampton Sydney up in Virginia. So I came back to Montgomery. So I had to pick a school that was a little bit closer. It was either Alabama or Auburn, and I picked Auburn. So I mean, I'm not a true like Auburn fan, and I'm okay with that. But I will get excited at football games. I don't really, like I said, I've never been a sports guy. The only sport I really loved more than anything else was basketball, but um, I'm not an athlete. I'm just a guy that likes what he likes.
That's all you got to be, man. That's all you got to be.
Yeah.
I, it's funny. Like my mother was an Auburn fan, and she would
Really?
always take me to the Auburn when I was a kid. Oh yeah, my uncle, he's an Auburn fan. He actually lives in Auburn. I told you I ran into him after not seeing or talked to him for 20 years, which was
Yeah.
cool. It was kind of shocking, and then we talked later that day on the phone. But he's an Auburn fan. I've only ever tailgated in Auburn when I was,
Yeah.
in my days. I only went to Auburn. I went to Tuscaloosa, I think maybe 2 or 3 times. Tuscaloosa was really ratchet, man, or it was really Greek. There was
Yeah.
no in between like
Yeah.
Auburn. Like Auburn, you could hang out with the dudes. They were kind of cool. You could go to some frat parties, and they
Yeah.
would be like, I'm not here, man. But if you were cool, they were cool with you. But
Yeah.
no, it wasn't like that. Tuscaloosa was a whole nother animal, man.
I can see that. Yeah,
Yeah. So
I
I
can
mean, if you
definitely
were
see
at the
that.
bar, if you were at the bar, it was fine. Like nobody
Yeah.
cared. They didn't ask you. I mean, bars up there are pretty ratchet too.
Yeah.
So but yeah, man. Like I said, I always had a lot more. I had a lot more fun in Auburn.
Yeah.
Historic. So it's much closer too. But
Yeah, it
who
is.
knows, man?
But have you been up to Auburn lately?
Actually, I did. We went to what's it, the Brew House? It may have been the Brew House. We went up there for our quarterly dinner where we meet with the CEO.
Isn't it
And
crazy how much it's changed?
man, it's like a small little, like it's a city now. Like it is blown up. I
Hmm.
didn't even so when we would tailgate, we would come up at the backside through, was it Notasulga
Yep.
or Silicaga? Yeah, so it's either I
Silicaga.
can't remember,
Silicaga. I think it was
but
Silicaga.
we would come up that back highway, and we would come and we'd take the right and go over the railroad tracks, and then
Yeah.
we'd hit the old goalpost. Everybody knows the
Yeah.
goalpost, baby. The
Yeah.
goalpost is
Yeah.
still there running strong. But all that was woods and train tracks, and it was desolate. There was nothing out there but some old houses. And now, about 3 miles from where you thought like the old stuff was, there's buildings, there's houses, there's gas
Yeah.
stations.
Yeah.
What happened?
Just
I mean, I don't think I've hung out in Auburn for the better part of 15 years.
yeah.
So that was the first time I'd actually been up there, and so we were close to we were downtown. We were down to, but I'm not even sure. We were close to Tumors, but not at Tumors. We wasn't that
Yeah.
far. But
And the fact that they've got like a grocery store like right off of like the main what is that? College Street? I think it's still College Street. You know where I'm talking about, where Tumor they've got
yeah,
like a Target and a Publix like right there, like right within walking distance. I'm like, what the heck is
yeah,
this?
yeah, man. Yeah, it's crazy. Like the little parking decks they got there. I was like, man,
Yeah.
this is not the town I used to party in. Like it's so
Yeah.
much different now. Really
Yeah, man.
different. It was a little more like backwoods, small town country when we went up there.
Yeah.
And now it's
Yeah.
gotten a lot more mainstream.
Yeah, it's
Um,
a city, it's metropolitan. I mean, it's something else.
it's still nice, man. Like I still got the people that we saw in the brew house, super nice. Um, so I still got the same vibes that I did get that I had years ago. Like everybody was still super friendly. Like
Right.
I just felt like I was back in the day sitting down having a good time.
Yeah. And I have a
Which is
feeling if you were to go out to T-Town, it would feel that way, the way you felt then, still there. That culture. That the cultures carry for generations.
mm-hmm. I agree, man. Yeah, I probably so if I had to, I would still probably go to an Auburn game before I would an Alabama
Yeah.
just because
Yeah.
the closeness and
Yeah.
it's just different. Even though I'm one of the Alabama fans. I don't know. For me, that was always about the game itself. Like I had
Right.
when my ex were together, it was during the national championship, and so I
Oh,
had
I
the
didn't know
excellent
that.
pleasure. Yeah, so I saw Camp Newton live a
Yeah.
lot, like in the flesh.
Yeah, me too.
When yeah, man. So that was great.
Yeah.
Like that boy. I mean, he can play. He can still can play football, right? But just watching him at that age, and just see how he would command the field. If he
Yeah.
wanted to score a touchdown, Cam Newton scored a touchdown. He
Yeah.
did what he wanted to do.
Yeah. It's
And
sad that he didn't win a Super Bowl. I mean, they should have they got close to winning it that year. Panthers. They should have won that. But Cam, he still has that. He's always had that. There's people that you can just look at and the way they carry themselves or play, they have that it factor. And he definitely, even after not playing now, he actually has a podcast. And because he's built up this reputation over the years, I mean, that's still a viable source of income for him post post NFL, post collegiate, and that's great. I'm glad for that for him.
he always had there at the end he had a strange fashion sense.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you got that
I,
much money, you can kind of wear whatever you want, right?
well,
So,
yeah, but I would probably attribute it to concussions, because he took some hits. I wouldn't
yeah.
surprise me to have some of that.
Well, back was it a few years ago that doctor who exposed the NFL where the NFL players, especially the linemen take a beating. Um, and this was the big headshots. But the doctor he did an autopsy on a pro football player, and like he had the brain of like an 80-year-old man, and what he was like in
Hmm.
his like 40s.
Hmm.
I think it was one of the guys that I can't remember his name. But one of the guys like lost his mind, drank antifreeze.
Yeah.
He just yeah, like it's I mean those guys were taking. Imagine the amount of pressure that their brain was hitting. Like
Yeah.
every play, those linemen get hit in the head. Like they
Yeah.
know they're going to collapse. Like every play, you're going to smash a guy either your size or a little bit bigger in the head. Like that's got
Yeah.
to you do that every Sunday for years.
Yeah. For
That's
years.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like that's good. That's got to do some. I think they made the helmets a little safer, and they've got where they outlaw it. Like, yeah, man, that was NFL tried to stop that doctor out. It's out there. I'm sure if you Google it, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, Will Smith would played that doctor in the movie. So I know
Yeah,
exactly what
yeah,
you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know the
yeah, man. Like
doctor's
it,
name, but I know what you're talking. I know exactly what you're talking about.
and then
Hmm.
of course the NFL wasn't like everybody else. Like it's kind of like the tobacco companies did. They
Yep, it's money.
hired their own experts,
Yep,
some scientists
yep,
and doctors that they could pay to
yeah,
contradict that. And it's like, yeah, it's
yeah.
wild, man, how they can do
Well,
that.
it's amazing how much money can, especially when you get to certain levels of money, how it influences you to do things that you really shouldn't do. That's why, yeah, I respect people that make lots of money and their integrity is you can't they can't be paid by anybody. So, and again, I think money just reveals more of who you really are at the end of the day. The more money you have, the more you really are going to show who you really are. And if you're not a good person, you're not a good person. And, that's good that I know who you really are. I've watched two shows, Billions and Secession. One was on Showtime and the other was on HBO. And it's in some ways a representation of what you lose touch with reality the more money you have. And so ultimately, at the end of the day, you always have to remember your life is going to end at some point. You are going to grow old. You are going to die. You do bleed the same blood as everybody else. So, You're gonna be there
It's
one
a
day.
it's a one-way trip, dude. There's no escape, right? Like we're all
Hmm.
heading that way.
My
We're
dad
on a
hasn't
trip.
come back yet. He's still going, you know?
Yeah, man. Yeah. My hell, mom's been gone 20 years. So, yeah, man. It's I don't know. It crosses my mind every now and then, but I've gotten to where I just, it's not like I can do anything about it. So I might as
No.
well just have a blast to do what I got to do while I'm here.
Yeah. Enjoy it. Yep. Yep. In fact, Matt Rife was this is related but not related, was telling Haley, I can't remember her last name, but she's known as the Hot Tua girl with her fame. Just he told her he just telling her like, look, with fame, you're gonna have 2 minutes. People are gonna say good things about you and they're gonna say bad things about you. But ultimately, you just have to enjoy it while you can because in a moment the world is looking to turn it on you. And I actually watched and she's a hoot. The girl is a hoot. It kind of like completely turned my opinion of her. And it's like, okay, well, this is an actual person. I mean, it was caught in a moment, but if you actually like listen to her talk, it's like, oh, she's funny. She's actually a funny person, and she's just being a genuine like her. She seemed very genuine to me. So I'll send it over to you that way you can watch it sometime. But at the end of the
But then
day,
I think Matt he was
yeah,
like doing really good, and then
yeah,
he made people mad, and
yeah.
instead of like caving, he went double down,
Oh,
and like he
and
actually got out of it. Like he's fine now, but
yeah,
like he went against cancel culture, and I think a lot of people are tired of cancel culture. It's gotten
they
ridiculous.
are. It is
Yeah,
because it's something that ultimately you can't condone evil. That's we can all agree on that. But you also
mm,
have to understand people are also human. They make mistakes. Everybody's not perfect. Now, there's some people that are genuinely sorry for what they did. They changed direction and their lives are completely different. I can name 20 people off the top of my head. And there's some that won't change. Those that are genuinely evil, I mean, only God forgives in my mind. I'm not, I'm called to forgive them, but I'm also human.
mm,
So if you do anything to my daughter, do you think I'm going to honestly forgive you? I'm not.
yeah,
I'm not. God will forgive you. I don't called to forgive you doesn't mean I have to forgive you. So,
mm,
that's how I stand when it comes to evil. Evil is evil. You can't tell me that, you know, if someone that is that evil, again, that's God's call. If he forgives you, he forgives you. You know, I got no say in the matter. But do I have to forgive him? I'm called to, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be able to. I can't. That's my cross I'll bear. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm glad to see that cancel culture, to some extent, people are getting tired of it. They're tired
yeah,
of that whole, okay, this is getting out of hand. Because what that means is people still can freely think for themselves, as they should. People should be able to say, hey, you know what? I'm not just going to follow the herd. I don't want to walk off a cliff. Okay. If y'all want to walk off a cliff, go ahead. More power to you. I'm not walking off a cliff. I'm not just going to cancel somebody.
yeah. I think, well, I mean, people are getting so upset over things that they shouldn't be upset about.
No.
Um, I think, people need more, like they need more friends that actually tell you things you don't like to hear.
Yeah.
Um, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, and I don't mean you. Like, we all got that friend. I mean, we're all friends to where somebody will pick at you and have a
Yeah.
good time with you. But I'm talking about the guys that like, hey, you said you were going to do this 2 or 3 months ago. You're still messing around. Like, are you going to do what you said, or are you
Yeah.
going to apply for that job?
Yeah.
Like you don't hear that enough. People can go online and they can get instant gratification. They can get oh, okay, well, And I mean, you can post anything online.
Right.
Somebody's going to go, you dropped your crown king, or
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it can be crazy. Yeah, dog. Yes, queen, and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
nuts. That is not.
Yeah.
That's not you drop your crown king. That is
Yeah.
insanity. But I mean, you can
Well,
always find people like that online. You can always find craziness
I
out there. People that'll justify you.
and that's the other side of like, be careful with comments, be careful with Twitter, because sometimes I'll just take a look at it and you can get sucked right into it. It's amazing what the mind does. If somebody were to put a comment that's negative towards something towards me, even though I know it's just words, I mean, it catches me on the bad day, and it just instantly, Mike, it upsets me. I'm like, why am I getting upset? Obviously, this person, I don't know who this person is. They're throwing it on there. They're doing it because they're either doing it intentionally or they're some form of a bot or they just don't care. So why do the words
Mm.
bother me? But it does. I mean, it's amazing that things like that can bother us so easily. And at the end of the day, we've got to understand that we're human beings fighting against human beings. What's the point of it? I mean,
So, question while we're on the subject, what do you do? Facebook and X or Twitter? What else do you do? TikTok or what's your social media poison these days?
it's pretty much all of it. The only one I don't do is really X or TikTok. I'll look at it, but I don't like post. And even then with
Mm.
like Facebook and Instagram, it's more consumption than it is posting. Now, posting from a professional standpoint, I use Facebook and building an Instagram, but
Mm.
as a whole, I'm really not in my early 20s, I was all on posting on Facebook versus now, I mean, it's an occasional here or there. Um, I'm more
I
of a
just full
consumer
on
than
that.
I am a poster.
Yeah, I just Facebook I kind of got away from. As you know, with all the scrutiny out there, man. When I found out that the Facebook was controlling the content we received, like in that,
Yeah.
and that I don't like that. So I gave up Facebook. I don't really get on TikTok anymore. All I use actually is X, and
Yeah.
the reason I went to it was the community notes that they have. So if
Hmm.
you think you're going to get away with posting something false, or you're going to take something and make it that it's not, or you're going to
Now,
the
is
community
this
notes.
post Elon's acquisition or pre Elon's acquisition?
Oh, this is something he enacted. So the
Okay.
community notes. This is something where you actually can sign up to be a community. I thought about it, but I'm like, no, I don't want to devote the time, and then I have to source the material. But you literally get a post like you get a little community note under the post, and they literally debunk the falsehood. This is why this is wrong. Here's the sources, and it literally gives a little 3 or 4 sentence like, hey, that's not true. This is how this was, and everybody's not like nobody's safe from that. Like they burnt the Forbes magazine, New York Times got burnt,
Hmm.
CNN got burnt. Like it was a good old fashioned roasting. Like people that post propaganda and lies, like I'm talking left or right, however you want to go on the political
Yeah.
spectrum.
Yeah.
Nobody's safe from like community notes, and I love that because people like legacy media on Facebook or on TV, they're not held accountable.
Right.
Like they can say what they want. Like, you take back when we were younger, man. Think about when we got out of high school. There was no 24-hour news. There was
No.
no CNN.
No.
There
No.
was no Fox.com. So if a broadcaster or a TV station made a mistake, yeah, that was it. Like we'll see you tomorrow at the 10 o'clock report, and by that morning, every other newspaper heard about it, so they were printing out such and such makes a false statement. Like it was just craziness. So they don't do that anymore. They can just print a retraction. You go to 24-hour news, they'll say a little apology, they'll post an edited version of the article, and that's it. Like
Yeah,
When
and
we were
then
younger,
because there's
oh
so
my
much more
God,
information coming on behind it, it just loses in the sea of information. Yeah, that makes
well,
sense.
and then there's that, and then I think there's a the confirmation bias, right?
Yeah,
So it's not a secret that most conservatives are watchers of Fox News and others watch CNN and MSNBC, right? And so
yeah,
if most of the followers want to hear something that's negative to a conservative, and as far as CNN or MSNBC or whatnot, then they're like would say, even though it's been debunked, oh well, it's probably true anyways, right? And the same thing
right,
goes with Fox. You know, they've
right,
had that. I mean, we've all. And if anybody says, okay, well, CNN's right, Fox is biased, then you're crazy. You're
right,
nuts. They're
right.
all biased. Like every one of them's biased. Like
That's
you
right.
can't get away from it.
No,
Like
because
journalism is
also
turned into
too,
activism.
it's the again, it's driven by revenue, you know.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, and if you're catering to an audience that's that crazy, uh, I don't know if politics were ever like that when I was a kid. I'm sure they were, right? Like
Yeah,
we just didn't see it.
yeah.
But the whole what have I gotten for being a Republican or a Democrat? I never got a free turkey sandwich or anything. You know,
No.
I never got into the club early. I never got to skip the line.
Yeah,
Right? It's just
yeah,
beliefs. Like it's not that deep, man.
yeah.
Um, but I find myself on social media following people that I do not agree with to maybe try to get insight that I wouldn't normally have.
That's
Even if I
right.
don't agree with somebody, I might get something that I wouldn't normally have thought of.
Right. And it takes a more awakened person, enlightened person, or realist to be willing to say, okay, well, you know, it's going to go this way, it's going to go that way. There's heads, tails, but there's a third side, which is the edge of the coin. And that's what I want to be aware of. I want to be aware of all three sides so I can make my own choice. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, the way I look at it now, probably more so than I used to, is I'm building a house, the house of Hawk. And that's really the only house that matters to me. I want my kids to be able to look at the situation and discern what's right, what's wrong. You know,
Mhm.
to quote Egg Shen from Big Trouble in Little China, there's Confucianism, there's Taoism, there's Chinese sorcery. It's like your salad bar.
Uh,
We take what we want and leave the rest.
I love that movie, man. That was such a great movie.
Oh
Kurt
man.
Russell,
Yeah.
man,
It's a typical
Jim.
American guy, and getting mixed into like an Eastern culture, and throughout the whole movie, he's a straight up American the whole movie. And it's
Yeah, man. It was
such a
great.
different character from Snake Plissken from Escape from New York. If I had a choice between Snake and Jack Burton, give me Jack Burton all day long.
Yeah, he was in that cool, man. He was hell of a night too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, man, I love
It's
that
all in the
movie. I love
reflexes.
it. I know it, man. Oh man, you're close. God, that was such a good. That
Uh-huh.
was really good. Lord. But man, so I guess if you get an opportunity though, I highly recommend like, I don't do like Facebook anymore like I used to
Yeah,
where I let people know. I mean, like I kind of just because I'm like you, I'm a consumer. I may add something every now and then. I might
yeah,
like something, but
yeah,
I'm not really. It's not that I don't mind. I don't mind giving my opinion, especially about something that's
yeah.
common sense and right or is a good argument. I don't mind disagreeing with people, but I found that the majority of people online, they don't want anybody to disagree with them. They want to be in these
No,
chambers where
no.
they feel the same thing from the same people. And if you offend them, they're likely, oh, I thought you were this type of person. I don't really want to be around that. And I'm like,
Isn't that weird that people have become this
yeah,
way? Because I don't know, I don't remember it being this way. I don't remember
I
that.
remember people being this simple. Like I don't remember as a kid. I mean, well, granted, the echo chambers we had growing up were a lot smaller.
Right.
They were a lot more
But
limited.
like
Like
people like we know that are like our age or older than us or younger than us, they exhibit that same type of behavior now, where they'll just
yeah,
they'll just completely shut down, you know? It's just so
yeah,
weird.
it's
It's
crazy.
like it literally is like a virus almost.
Yeah, it's a personal thought. When you tell somebody they don't want to hear, like if you say something that they don't want to hear, let's say, I mean, I think they call it cognitive dissonance. All right,
Yeah,
cognitive dissonance. Oh,
dissonance. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Why does it matter? Why is it a personal attack?
Yeah.
It's something
It it's
that
it's like just because I said this doesn't mean like I'm going, it's not like I'm actually slapped you in the face or anything. I just don't agree with you. That's all, you know?
I had an epiphany a while back. So I used to follow this guy. He's really cool on TikTok. I just don't get on TikTok anymore because I feel like
Yeah.
I'll get some information or some insight on something, and then it's like the next 6 clips of craziness, and I just like I can't do it. I can't. I don't want to do it. I'd rather read now. There was a guy I followed, and he had brought up a situation where people were all about after a shooting happens, they're all about gun control, and so he would do this. He would actually, and this is why I followed him. Caught me in. In fact, I thought he was being offensive, but he was actually does his thought experiments. And if you follow him, you know he's one of those guys. If you know, you know. If you're scrolling through your timeline or For You page and you see it, you'd be like, this guy's nuts. But
Yeah.
he tries to get people to think. So if people were like, guns kill people, yada yada yada. Well, then he posted. He goes, well, here's something I thought of. He brought up religion. He wasn't blaming religion. He was using this as a kind of a thought experiment. He brought up, well, clergy's bad, and I won't say it, but the
Yeah.
thing is we got so many responses for people going, it's not religion that's the problem, it's the people. And he goes, why do people say that about religion, but not about guns? It's the same principle.
It is.
He's like, because
It absolutely is.
you've been told. He said you've been told to say that. What's the difference in a gun and religion? Like if you think about it in terms of enabling somebody to do something that they wouldn't normally have the power to do. A member of the church in a position of power or a man holding a gun, right? So if you apply it like that, maybe they're not even in the same ballpark. But obviously the only thing that's constant between that is the individual using it, right?
Yeah.
The human being.
Yeah.
So the gun is nothing without the human. The gun can't do
Exactly.
anything without human.
Exactly.
Religion cannot do anything without the human being. So
Yeah.
by default, like, what's the real problem? It's person, the people
Exactly.
that perpetrate, and
Exactly.
so, and that was trying to explain. I thought that was really thought provoking because most people, like, you hear it now. Of course, I don't like. Nobody likes gun violence. Nobody likes knife violence, right? But is it really a gun? That's the problem. But sure, we have violence out there. Guns take away guns. They're not going anywhere. Sure, we have people that abuse your religion and take advantage of it for their own needs. And we see it every day. The
Yeah.
Middle East is prime example of that. Like you have people that they're being told that they're going to get certain things or certain people are bad. God wills it. I'm sure it happened. I know it happens here. Was it Westboro? I'm not saying those hateful things, but religion is not hateful. It's not like that. It takes a person to twist something, or you take an act on that, a gun, So, but it was just mind-boggling because if you look at it in a context like that, religion is a weapon. It can be used as a weapon. It never should be. Guns
Everything.
should never be used, but they can be. You can twist anything. A human being can take
Yes.
anything.
Yes. And that's the argument against AI to an extent is how risky it is. We jokingly talk about Skynet and Terminators. the Matrix and all that. Well,
Mhm.
what's preventing AI from looking at humanity and saying, well, humanity is too dangerous? It's too it's too much of a threat to existence itself. Humanity needs to be wiped out. So, you know, hopefully that never happens. Uh, but the way I look at it
Well,
is humanity is creating AI and the machines and things like that. But yes, humanity is its own destructive force, and it was never meant to be that way. Humanity was meant to create life.
mhm.
It's a tale as old as time that people don't understand. We have an enemy that hates our guts because we were made in the image of the creator. And what's the best way for the enemy to get back at the one he hates, the creator? Corrupt the image to make that image like himself, make it a destructive force, and make it to a place where we are turned against each other. And again, I get it. Scarcity of resources, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But if you've got somebody that is like an Elon Musk or any type of human being that sincerely wants to find a way to keep life flourishing and growing, we can find a way to terraform. We can find a way to live out in space. If we can just stop fighting each other and find a way to help each other survive and find ways to make resources. I mean, there's so many different things that we should be trying to explore, trying to understand, but we don't. And that's the human condition. All life is suffering, you know. Marriage is suffering,
Well,
raising a family is
we're
suffering,
always,
it's all suffering. It's always suffering.
yeah. I always felt like we were just one discovery away from, like, if you notice, like the big things that impacted history, like take computers for example, um, how they went from taking up entire, massive rooms to fitting in our pockets now.
Yeah. Hey,
Um,
right here, this
like
guy,
we're just on.
this
Yeah, that's
fella.
what I'm saying. That's a computer. It's a computer.
Yeah.
Just like we're always one discovery away, and when we make these huge, especially in the past 100 years, we've
Yeah.
made these massive strides,
Yeah.
and like it's going so fast. Like to go from like holograms are a real thing. AI wasn't. We were told AI was 20 like going to be forever, like forever, and now it's here. It is. I think the Japanese are coming up with a flying car.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's
the
it's
Jetsons,
not that
baby.
far off. Yeah, I mean, even if it's after we're gone, even 100 years from now, that's not very far away. I
No,
read
it's
an
not.
article last night. Last night. I read an article that they think by 2028 we will be integrating with AI. Like actually, we'll
That's what they
have
say.
like yeah,
That's what they
like
say.
that's 4
Crazy.
years away.
That's
That's
crazy.
4 years away.
Yeah.
I got to get on. I got to get studying, man. I got a lot to learn for that.
What
IT going to change tremendously.
what's even crazier than that? It's not even 4 years away. It's 3 years and 4 months away because this year's almost over with already. We're into August already.
Wow, that's unbelievable. It's gone by fast, man. So what a year.
Well, think about
But
this.
yeah, man.
This will blow your mind, man. Okay, so this is what's wild about Facebook. What I like about Facebook is that it does what it was intended to do, which is connect people together, but it also creates a record of time. So you can look at memories of people that you've been friends with for years, and if they have kids, their kid from 5 years ago to 5 years later, and then 5 years after that, they're freaking 20 in their 20s now. You know what I'm saying? That's insane. That's how quick time goes.
Yeah, man. It's wild. It's
Little bug will
yeah.
not
I
be a
still don't
little
know.
bug much longer. She's going to be a large bug.
No. Yeah, man. I can't really. It's getting to the age where I can't even call her that anymore. But she loves it when I call her that. But yeah, man. She's gotten older and gotten really good. Like, just go ahead and warn you. Um, your daughter's gonna roast you so bad.
I
Like,
bet.
just 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 get ready because a little bug brings the pain train for me, man. Like, you know, and I started feeling better. I'm serious. Like, I started feeling better. I quit smoking, and like I think I sent you a text. Like, I swapped out the fluorescent fixtures and made them where they were LED compatible. Like, I did all this stuff, and I was just so proud of myself. And she was looking at me, and she's like, "Yeah, Dad, you really are a big dork." Like, come on, man, really? Like, I've done all this. Like, the house ain't looked this good ever.
Hey,
I've
look,
even dusted
the
everything.
background looks really nice, man. I was gonna comment, your room looks nice, man. It looks fancy,
Yeah,
man.
man, I've cleaned it up a lot, but yeah, I was oh man, what do you think of that? Like, I think you're a big dork, and I was just like, come on, really? But no, when she was here, she started school when she was here this last time, because she stayed with me for 3 weeks this summer. 3 weeks and some change. I got her a lot this summer. I wish I
Good.
could have been home with her more, but I was able to work remote a few days with her. But at least we got to do what we wanted when we needed to do it.
That's good.
So she was happy. But God, where was I going with that? Hold on.
She's
Blanked
grown
out
up.
there.
She's not little bug anymore.
No, man, she's not. She's not. She's getting there, man. I'm really proud of her getting accepted into the gifted program. Well, the funny thing was that she tried for a couple of years. And I think that was part of the test. She said she was struggling with spatial awareness. I think that's recognizing. Yeah, like that's what I said. What is that? Because I'm not sure what that is. It sounds like an ability.
What's the application of that? I mean, unless you're going to be a pilot, I mean, the application of it, it's just, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so like she's made like straight A's since
Yeah.
I can remember. You know, she's always been an excellent student.
Yeah.
Last year this time she was worried about math, and I was like, baby, just do your best. You know, if that's not enough, we'll figure out a way to make it enough. But
Right.
like you ain't even done it yet, so don't worry about it. Of course, she just made straight A's all the way through. Like, she just dominated. And so I'm sitting there, and you know, she brought it up. She was telling me, Daddy, you know, got accepted to the gifted program. And she saw it, and like they named me for spatial awareness, and then I did an IQ test and I got it. It's like, you know what? I don't even want it anymore. And I was like, she's like, I've been trying to get into it for 2 or 3 years, and now I finally got in, and I'm just like, I don't care. I was like, take advantage of what you did, you know, and be proud of yourself. Like,
Yeah.
getting in on IQ alone is very, very, like, that's good.
Yeah.
That confirms that you're probably smarter than your old man, and I'm proud of you. But like, I'm glad that you're not in a world that's so, especially at their age, man. Like all the YouTube people, all the content creators in their age bracket are so obsessed with titles, whether they be sexual or whether they come off as like a mental illness. Like you'll hear, I'm autistic, I'm obsessive compulsive, and these are children. Like like there's more information out there, but we didn't really know what that was when we were
No.
I mean, it's like, and I'm glad she's like that, because I always tell her, I'm like, baby, don't ever get wrapped up in the titles. It's okay to be normal. You don't.
Yeah.
I said, in a world where people are so like trying so hard to get content out there, one of the ways to do that is the sympathy form, is what I call it. The sympathy form. You throw out an element. Oh, I got this, you know, and you stand out for a little bit, but that's not going to keep people's attention.
No.
And that's certainly, and you don't want that out there. Like there's people out there with real problems, and you don't even know that.
Right.
And they care enough to try to be like, you don't get it all wrapped up in the. I was so glad, like she didn't. The gifted, like she didn't. I was like, baby, you know, it's not that big a deal. I'm glad you see that, but this will get you access to, if you want to go to college or pursue other, you know, things later in life. This is time to go ahead and start now.
Yeah.
But I said, I want you to remember that if you fail a test in high school or didn't quite do this project right, that's not an indication of how your life's going to turn out when you leave high school. High school is a very, very small fraction of your future. Like, period. It helps, but I mean, how many guys that we know, that that I've met over the years, you've met over the years, or I grew up with, especially the guys I grew up with, a lot of them didn't even make it through high school. They barely made it through. They're very successful. Like, and then I was in the class with those guys where, you're going to end up being nothing. You're going to spend your life in jail when you get out of school. And it's like, that's not true. That's not true. So I told her, just don't put so much weight. Like, don't put. It's okay. There's 100 different ways to get somewhere. Everybody's got their own little route that they take. It's not that big a deal. So
and the most important thing that you probably teach her more than anything else is the power of being social, like genuinely social relationships. Because nowadays, a lot of the kids, their heads are like this and they're like literally sitting next to each other or across from each other. And when they need to just put it down, because once they get out into the real world, the professional world, I really don't see talking like this going away. I don't see that going away because genuine relationships, they have this effect on people. They have this, and ultimately, when you want a genuine connection with somebody, you're not going to be on like this. You're going to be looking them in the eye. You're going to be talking them face to face. And being able to do that now, I'm going to teach that to Evie and Bishop. You have to do that because if you don't do that, then you're like everybody else. Doing that, as simple as it is a superpower now. It is legit superpower. Like just social interactions. Like let's push the whole knowing how to do math and English out of the way and push the personal finances out of the way. If you could just talk with somebody genuinely, face to face, and hold a conversation with them, I mean, my God, you can move mountains now, literally.
They don't like. I've even asked her. I'm like, baby, why don't you like, why don't you stay with your friend's house more? Why don't they come over more? Like, you at your mom's, do they come over? And she's like, not really. We just get on the pad or play on the game together. And I'm like, you should see if you can go and hang out with them, or I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I encourage. Like I tried to encourage that. Hold on just a second. I forgot to close my door just a second.
Well,
But
the
yeah,
other
like
the other side of it is too is as we're coming more and more away from firmware, hardware, and more to a wetware, software type of world, an internalized world. Well, if the only person you can talk to is really yourself, well, that's not good. No man's an island. We're not meant to be an island. I mean, I can get wrapped up into an idea that I think it's good until somebody says, "Well, what about this?" Next thing you know, I'm like, "Oh my God, I could have made a huge mistake if I hadn't talked to somebody about it."
yeah, something else, man. So,
And
that
that's the
thing
danger of using those pads and cell phones. You're not really telling them what you're really feeling. You're masking it.
yeah, it's another situation. I don't think I had time to talk to you about this, but she has a friend
Hmm.
that went through a pretty difficult time. Her parents got divorced,
Hmm.
and friend brought up the fact that she was trans. Of
Hmm.
course, she had a guy named. I'm just like, wow. Like, of course, it raised more questions, and then so the challenge for me was to not come off as judgmental
Judgmental.
and harsh.
Yeah.
So I had to be the middle ground. And of course, when Angie would ask me things about her, and I would have to think about what I said, and so I would focus on, well, she did go through a traumatic divorce, right? And I said sometimes people can try to garner attention, and they'll do whatever it takes to get it. And I said, said you might notice that if that's a situation where that is, you might notice that where somebody starts to take the spotlight in the group, she'll quickly try to bring the attention back to her. Of course, about everything I said happened, you know, but man, it was, to be that age and to have a divorce like that. I'm glad that me and my ex get along like we do for Angie's behalf. But it was hard for me because I wanted to say, well, I don't think you need to be hanging out with this person.
Right.
But I mean, I know what happened when my dad told me not to hang out with somebody.
Yeah.
I hung out with them when I could.
Yeah.
Like, if I cared. So it was like, how do I bring to light that one of our friends may be an issue or even needs help? Because I even said, baby, I said, you feel like she's, in danger, especially saying things like that at such a young age. I'll be happy to, be with you, or if you want to bring it up or whatever it takes. That's on you. Whatever you decide, but I'll back you 100%. So it was rough, man, because I know that your peers, like even at that age, your peers have more influence over you.
Of course.
Than your parents.
Of course.
Like there's a drive inside of you that you like. For me, it was like I don't want to disappoint my parents or be, look bad. That didn't stop me from doing the crazy, the stupid stuff. That didn't stop me from putting a cigarette in my mouth when I was a kid. I knew my dad was like it, but I still got in trouble for it. Like, that didn't stop me. Of course, I didn't get caught. So yeah, I think there for a minute, it actually messed with, like Angie thought about it. Because I mean, at first, wow, like with any kid, it's something new, it's something different. And so I think there for a while, I think it had a small influence on her. And I think by not being judgmental and by pointing out some subtle things, because after I showed her a few things, I noticed that she would come and talk to me more about this person.
Yeah, good.
And
that's good.
I was like, baby, from my point of view, I said, and this isn't for everybody. And I explained that I had trans friends because I worked in the bar business. But Daddy had friends from all walks of life. I was never judgmental. So I just, to each their own. And I knew trans people. So, but I said that that doesn't mean that your friend is the same way. But it was different from the trans people I knew. They acted like it was a whole different ball of wax.
It's different from then than it is now to some extent, because when you met them, how old were they versus, how old is Ames's friend, and that's
I was a bar employee.
Exactly.
I got to know them because I would actually serve them alcohol and cook for them when they come to do it.
Exactly.
I was the only dude that did that. I treated them with respect, and I made money for that. They tipped the shit out of it too. I'm sorry for saying that, but it's true. I treated them like humans, so I was never judgmental.
That's right. But to see, that's the thing that you're helping Amesy understand is sometimes people do make choices and decisions out of attention. And we both know that the human brain, scientific studies have shown that the human brain it takes time for it to reach a certain level of maturity. So, I think you approached that the right way and not saying, hey, don't be around this person, even though you understandably had some reservations, because ultimately, again, it kind of goes back to what I was saying. I care about the House of Hawk. You care about the House of Easterling, and that's what it's about. It's about keeping that line of communication open. I'm not going to always agree with what you say, honey, but I still love you at the end of the day. And I don't want to ever not make you feel like you can't come to talk to me about anything, regardless of how I genuinely feel about it. Because my hope is that you will gain the wisdom that I've learned through my past mistakes, or hear the wisdom that God is trying to tell you. And you don't have to do the thing to learn the lesson. You can just see it and know I don't need to go do that, whether it's
No,
good or bad, right or wrong. You know, you don't have to do that. And I love you no matter who you are and what you do. I hope I raise you the right way. And if I feel like something's makes me uncomfortable, it's not good, then I do have to look at it and reflect and say, hey, maybe it's some bias inside of me that I need to re-examine, or it's maybe genuinely something that's true, but never feel like you can't talk to me about it. And then I think you did that great. I think you did it the right way to get your child to open up to you and talk to you about it. These are things that from a distance, I've kind of always watched you as a father, and I look at it and I'm like, the way you raise Amzie is very good because at the end of the day, she knows you're her father. You are a friend to her, but she knows that ultimately you're a father. And I think you handled that situation well.
yeah, man. So, well, I've made a promise to her, like she still tests me on this, that I would always talk to her about anything, even if it made me uncomfortable. And certainly tried. She has made me uncomfortable and thought it was hilarious. The first time she did it, I was like, that you talk to your mother about these things, right? Like, I'm your dad. I love you, but your mother is a female like you. She can help you with that, So go ahead
Yeah.
and talk to her and like quit busting me up, But and it all goes back to I want to make sure that if she's in a position where she needs help, or she needs to talk to somebody, that she knows she can call me, and that requires me to have a level of patience and consistency to try
Yes.
to, consistency is something that's overlooked in parenting. And you're going to have kids that do something that drives you crazy or that makes
Yep.
you lose your top. But how you back? Because that's going to happen. Kids are going to get that part out of you. They're going to get that. But how you act on it, if you overreact or say something or you cross a line, they're probably not going to be very comfortable with going back to you for
Right.
something. So your
Right.
consistency and your temperament when you hear the bad things is what's going to make your kids go, well, wow, dad took it like I didn't think he would, and he should have did this, and you earn some level of respect, and then of course the trust have with your kid is reinforced, which is huge.
Right.
That's keeps your kid talking to you if they trust you. Trust it, and you have to for your kid, or for me, for example, when I was growing up, like I remember the adults in my life that continuously, renewed the trust. That when the trust was tested, came through. So being consistent, just making sure that, because I can lose I do have a bad temper.
Yeah.
It doesn't really come out with her. I do have a horrible temper, but I've noticed that I just don't ever run out of patience with it. I'm more likely to knuckle a little bit, shake my head, like say, "Come on, man, really?" But I think that's important. If I want to be the parent that she can go to, that she will talk to things that I need to hear. I want to hear about friends like that. And it's not that I want to actually run them off. But, pointing out things that I noticed in the conversations with her was the best way that I could show her that her friend was probably acting out or having issues. And I was able to do that because she trusted me enough to go deep into those conversations.
That's right. Yeah.
So it wasn't like I cried. I listened. I just sat there and I listened. And I really do hope that, her friend does get help.
Absolutely.
She finally she's gotten to the point where she was like, Dad, I'm kind of tired of it. And I was like, well, I mean, it's okay to walk away from something like you don't wear a cape any more than Daddy does. I can't save anybody. That doesn't want to be saved. You can voice your concern to a person like that.
Yeah.
And, she said to me, and I think for her, it was a connection. She was like, you sound like you're talking about Papa. Like, well, I kind of, it's a similar situation. If a person is not willing to accept responsibility for who they are, and they're not willing to take, make those changes, if it's, oh, I'm sorry, I did this, or I'm like this, or somebody else's fault, it's a broken record. And for me, it took me to get that, because I was raised, that's what I heard, that's what I was raised in doing. It took me, I shouldn't have turned out like I did. I should not. By all accounts, I should be a carbon copy of how I was raised. And now I found something that made me want to change, where I couldn't bear saying that to my kid. Like I imagine the pain that I felt, but yeah, man, like I'm glad that like she didn't notice the character traits there.
That's good.
That's I said, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not diagnosing anybody. I'm not even diagnosing, like anybody like that, but it's important that you recognize patterns and things.
It's
like
a pattern recognition. Yeah. You don't have to be a doctor, so to speak. I mean, it helps because doctors are equipped with the tools for certain things. But ultimately, as human beings, we should be able to recognize patterns. That's from a survival aspect, is being able to kind of trust your gut and know, hey, this just doesn't feel right. Or, this something about this is not okay. And then as parents, we just need to voice it to our children, you know?
Yeah.
And I'd be glad to tell. Uh, there's certain stories that I don't feel like it would be appropriate to tell my children, just simply because it would, and that's how I measure it. Would it hurt more than help? If it's going to hurt them more than help them, then that story doesn't need to be told. However, for the most part, on certain incidents, that's probably incidences or incidents, then I can say, hey, I've got a story to tell you. Let me tell you a story about daddy. Or I guess another way around it is, if I have something similar that I can't share with them, I do know somebody that has that same story, and I can say, hey, let me tell you about what happened with Uncle Joey. And then, kind of that way they have stories that they can tell. And they know that these things, if they I would hope my kids wouldn't want to be fact check me, but if they could, if they want to, they can. I mean, it'd be just silly. But it's like, all right, well, just give them a call then. It really happened. Call Uncle Blake right now. But
I mean,
ultimately, these stories they're meant to. We gotta equip our houses with everything we possibly can, because the world's tough. It's a tough world.
it is, man. What was that you used to talk about? It was like brought up man, I may have brought it up to you, but how parents will sometimes make their kids into martyrs, or they think that they have to expose their kids to the same amount of trauma.
I don't know. I don't think we ever talked about that. That doesn't sound familiar.
I mean, like that's a big thing. I think that's why generational curses continue to survive, is because it ends up carrying over, and
mhm.
it very well should have carried over to me.
No,
'Cause I heard life's hard, you got to deal with it, be tough. And so from my standpoint now, it's like I don't see any reason. Like there's tough love, yeah, but you don't have to make your
no,
kid into a martyr. Like
no.
like to do that. Like, do you just not like yourself? Like, why would you do that?
Yeah,
Like, life's gonna treat them terrible. Like, life's already
yeah,
got that
yeah.
covered. You don't
Well,
have to make
yeah,
it hard on your kids.
yeah.
Like you don't have to toughen them up. Like, it just
No,
the crazy thing about parenting is there's actually parents out there that think that they should toughen their kids up. It's like
no.
you toughen your kids up by building their confidence,
Correct.
trust, and their self-love, like building their real self-esteem. I tell my daughter all the time, you're born with everything you need. You got everything right here. You were born with it. You don't need anything else. You just got to learn how to use it. So
Yep.
why
You
would you
just got
give
to
your
pull
kids
it out. No,
yeah, because
you
with
shouldn't.
confidence, with esteem, you build resilience like that because you
Hmm.
build the character traits that really contribute to resilience and being able to get through the tough situations
Right.
and having the stand and the endurance to continue forward even when it sucks.
Hmm.
Like that's what character traits they build those abilities, right?
Yeah.
At least from my point of view. So I don't know, man. Like I've never understood parents that did that. It's
I
kind of
don't, I
mind
don't, I
boggling.
don't either because you should not. I mean, to your point, life is already hard as it is. There's already so much pain in the world. There's no need to expose them to what you've been through. And because all it is that you're just setting this reminder. What you're doing is you're reliving it all over again. You're reliving it all over again. And unfortunately, you're creating another victim. You're already the victim of it. So what you're doing is you're passing it on to the next generation when it should die. If it's bad, this is the way to kind of look at it. If you got something good to say to somebody, you say it. If you ain't got anything good to say to anybody, don't say it. If you're gonna pour
Mhm.
life into something, pour life into it. Do it. But the only reason that you're having to destroy anything is because you're protecting something. That's the only reason why. But other than that, no. I mean, there's no need to do anything like that. Because again, life is going to hit them hard anyways. You gotta show them how to be able to protect themselves, of course. But nonetheless, no, you don't need to toughen them up. No,
No,
no, uh-uh.
no,
Nope.
no. You'll beat something up. You don't make something tougher by beating it up.
No,
That's not going to
no.
work,
Well,
especially.
hey, Rocky Balboa pounded on that big old 20, 50, 100 pound meat. That thing didn't get toughened up. That thing, all that chunk of flesh, I mean, all it did was make his knuckles hurt more. I mean, that pound of meat is still all tore up.
No,
A dead piece of meat.
no, it don't work. Not how it works, man. I don't know, man. You build character in your kids, and that in turn that's strength. That's endurance. That's resilience. That's how you get
Yeah.
up and take the hits.
It's
Um,
kind of like in Dragon Ball Z.
oh God,
So
here we
Goku,
go.
so Goku is training Gohan in the hyperbolic time chamber, getting him ready for his fight with Cell. He knew that Gohan had this innate power inside of him. He saw it when he was a kid. He knew he had this unlocked potential, this power inside him. So they were sitting there training, training, training. And at some point, you know, he's encouraging his son, hey, we just need to rest. We need to relax. We need to heal. There's no sense in overtraining and overworking our bodies. We need to relax and heal. And so, that's the same thing with life. I mean, we are called to rest at some point because we're humans. We're designed to rest. And so, there's no sense in what's the point of this toughening up thing? I don't get it. I don't get it. There's no sense in it. I mean,
Mm-mm.
again, it's already hard as it is. Let's get some rest.
Yeah, I know, man. It's wild. So you don't have to put a. I mean, I don't know. It's I know that was kind of what was tried to what my upbringing was that was what was tried in my upbringing. But it didn't really. It probably made life for me a lot harder because the things that I should have heard I didn't hear. So
Right.
it probably influenced wishes, and I went looking for things that I should have already had. Um, and to make a long story short, yeah,
You already
it,
do
and
have
then
those things. Yeah. But see, the good balance of why we're not designed as to be just one, like male and female in one. We're not designed that way. That's why AMZ has her mom, she has you as her father, because you're both bringing two different aspects of humanity together, and she needs both. She needs both. There's no doubt about it. Every child needs both.
I agree, man. Like there's so much contrast. Like, if you look at her mother's background versus my background,
Right.
she grew up in a nuclear family. Older brother, dad was a teacher, mom was stay-at-home mom. She's and she's awesome. Like, I get along great with her. I think she's a great mother. And then there's me. Like, that was not what I had at all. Like,
No.
there's no stretch of the word. Like, that just wasn't in the tone. But I think with all in all, the cool thing is that I think it does give Angie some insight into what you should have and what could possibly happen if you
That's
don't
right.
have those things.
That's right.
And I think I've shown her that even though that you really can't help what you got, what you're born with, where you come from, that's just not a choice that we have any hand in. That's up to that was to the people before us, and we don't have.
Yeah.
You can't help that. Like, you can't help
No.
that. That's nothing you can do that. And but you can do something about it when you start getting sense and get older. And
Yeah.
I hope that I've shown my daughter, if anything, I've showed her that it doesn't really matter where you come from. That just matters where you try to go. As long as you don't give up, just keep digging, keep going. And
Keep digging. Absolutely.
Yeah,
You have to keep digging.
Yeah, man. And if you have to leave some people behind while you're moving forward, even if you love them, even if you can't, you feel like you can't live without them, you still have to keep moving. So,
Yeah, because you're only given this life for X amount of time, and you don't want to be on your deathbed with regrets.
No, man, and then the other side of that too, I think I've shown her that it's okay to give second chances. I've given second chances, and I've tried, and I think I've left.
That's right.
I've left the door open for my situation. If that person was to change, there would be a way back in for them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't. It's not looking good. If I went, the realistic side of me says no chance.
Right.
But my realistic side in my life's been wrong a lot, especially in the past 4 or 5 years. So maybe he's wrong. One could hope,
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, that's why we do have forgiveness in our hearts.
Yeah.
I mean, only God forgives, but we're also made in his image too. Now, there's certain things that for me would be very, very hard to forgive. But am I going to absolutely rule it out as an impossibility? No. Just the possibility is very, 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 very small. But nonetheless, that's why I have hope for humanity. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, we have qualities. It's not just black and white with us. There's gray. There's an opportunity. There's always an opportunity.
Yeah, man. It's that went deep quick, didn't it? Yeah, I will say this about forgiveness. I probably have every right to be angry at several people.
Yes.
One in particular, and I've found that I did forgive him.
That's good.
I don't have any. Well, it was like a poison, man. I think we've talked about hate being just a poison that seeps into everything, other relationships, your work,
it does.
Sleep.
It does.
It corrodes you from the inside out. It will. The next thing you know is, hate's always there for you. You can always find some hate.
Yeah.
Hate does not discriminate. It will roll with whoever will take it under any banner at any time.
Well, and for me, forgiving my dad I thought it would be harder than it actually was. When he passed away, I now can talk about him in a very fond way, very fond. And it does not excuse nor erase what he did wrong. Can't deny it. It happened. It affected me. But nonetheless, there are moments where I genuinely do miss him. Like, I can see the good. I can see the good. And it doesn't hurt me. And
Mm.
I can tell stories in a way that, it honors him because he was good. He just wasn't perfect, and
No,
that's as long as my kids can see that and know that I absolutely love them and they don't carry any of my mistakes forward, then I've done I've done what I've been put here to do.
yeah, man. That's it's it doesn't when you say it, it doesn't really sound like a lot, but it really is. And, you say that's all you can do, but that's a lot. It really is a lot, man. When you get that down, it's hard not to. I know it's not hard. It's really hard not to revert to some of the behavior that I was shown.
Yeah.
And for years I did. The biggest thing for me was probably the way I could excuse myself or the way that I could apologize and blame somebody else right after that.
Mhm.
But I could not do that to my child. Like I just couldn't.
No.
Like the amount of anger that I still remember, like when he said it, like on this back, which the amount of anger that came over me. I did want to just spear tackle him, pick him up, and throw him into the pool.
Yeah.
It did not like if he would have just stopped with the "I'm sorry," we were all gravy, But then it was the "but" that just ruined it. And
Yeah.
I remember going home. I was just like, I'll never ever say that to my child, ever.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I've never had to. It's not been easy. But by eliminating some things in my life, it got easy pretty quick. So back to making those sacrifices for the things you really want in life. You gotta cough up some things, and hanging on to the hate was one of them. I think I had to redo that. I think I had to forgive him several times over the years, but I think this time it was. I think I'm good, and I'm in a distance. I'm at a distance from him now where I'm not worried about it anymore.
That's right.
I know it won't happen. I've,
That's right.
I'm protected. I've protected myself, and I've
Yeah.
protected my kid too.
Yeah.
So now it's not only have I forgiven him, I'm in a place where I can't be touched. Like
Yeah.
I can't be harmed in that kind of way. I
Yeah.
can't be
Exactly.
pushed, be bullied. So I'm a master of my destiny right now. All I have to do is go to work, speak to my friends, and be a good dad. And even though that I make it sound like it's really easy, it kind of is. It really is. I
Yeah.
mean, just
It's
handling
normal.
business.
It's normal. Yeah. You're living a normal life.
And it's so nice, man. Like it's so nice to not have craziness. I got so many crazy stories. We'll have to dig into it, man. One night. It's pure madness. Um, but I try to like you were talking about with your kids, like story time. Um, I try to wait for the question, because
Hmm.
I've discovered that for Amesy, if she's old enough to ask the question, she's old enough to get some information.
Right.
I did have to tell, like she did cry when she was real young, and it wasn't anything bad. But I answered her question, and she was like, "Daddy, I don't know what that means." And I'm like, "Okay, now you know why I tell you to wait till you get older, so you have a better understanding of those things, and we'll revisit it." So now when I say, well, "Can you hang on?" and I'll wait till you understand a little bit more, she's like, "Okay," like because I hit her with some jargon. Yeah,
Yes.
she didn't have a clue what I was talking about. I was like, "Baby,
Yeah.
there's a reason you need more experience." Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
things I brought up, you have no clue what I'm talking about. And I'm glad you realize that. She's like,
Yeah.
"Daddy, just tell me I need." Yeah, so
And to kind of, you know, kind of bring that point home. So I did watch Big Trouble in Little China the other day.
oh
So,
man, I need to watch. Such a good movie.
so, when
Great
you're
movie.
young and you get hit with this line, what an 8 foot tall guy throws you up against the wall and he said, "Hey, you paid your dues, Jack?" "Yes, sir. The check is in the mail." I mean, that's just like when you watch that as a kid and you're just like, okay. But then you think about it as an adult and like, oh yeah, that's a funny line. That's great. That's a great line.
Jason, man, I love it, man. But as far as like the seriousness of our conversations, I do remember a situation where I try not like I did promise her too that I would never lie to her,
Right.
and I'm not able to, and it's not and that kind of puts me in some strange situations where I
Yes, it
don't want to
does.
be completely honest. So I kind of have to walk the balance of
Yep.
giving the truth without giving unnecessary or information that's not helpful to this.
That's right.
Kind of you
That's
can
right.
filter it out.
You got to measure it to where is it going to hurt or is it going to help? And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
and then the you have to understand that like if it's something that will truly help, but she's just not ready for it yet. That's what you do. He's like, you're not, you have to trust me. I will tell you all of it, the whole truth. But at this
Mm-hmm.
time, I can only tell you this much of the truth, and I will tell you the whole truth. Daddy's
Yeah.
not going to lie to you. But if I were to tell you the whole truth right now, you can't, you just can't handle the truth. You know, two
Yeah,
good
yeah,
men, you just can't handle the truth.
yeah. Thanks, Jack. Or Colonel Jessup, man. That was
Yeah,
Colonel Jessup.
Jessup, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, uh.
Colonel Jessup.
But
I know
but
my movies, man.
yeah, but seriously, but that's why a child is a child. Child that does not have the experience, they don't have the vocabulary, they don't have those things, and that's again, that's what it. At least we can build upon it over time. You know, the child come back as an adult and ask, their father, who's also an adult, and said, "Well, I remember you told me this story way back when." And you said that you would tell me all of it. Now, can I hear all of it? It's like, of course you can. Of course you can. And I think you'll understand it a lot better now because it's not just a simple black and white scenario. It has a little bit of gray to it. So let's talk about it. I'll tell you the whole story. And then if you want to know like the layers, the reasons why, all that, I'll be glad to tell you. But now's the time. Now's the time. It's like, like a master of any craft. They watch their student grow and grow and grow. And hopefully the goal is that the student surpasses the master. Uh, but there's certain techniques and tactics that the student just can't handle yet. And so that's the hope. That's why life is a progression. And we have to be careful with how we teach our children certain things because they're so smart now. They're so much smarter than we were. They are. They soak it up like a sponge. And
Yeah,
unfortunately,
yeah.
they'll hold it, everything in life can be like a stick of dynamite. Debt can be a stick of dynamite. Everything is dangerous if it's not used properly. So, hopefully they trust us. That's the hope.
Yeah, man. That is definitely. Um, man, I'm over here yawning. I'm kind of weak here. It's almost an hour past my bedtime. I've been going to bed at like 9:30 for the past month. That's
Man, hey, it's close past my bedtime. We soldiered on this one, man. But there's so much stuff to talk about in general, and either way, the most important thing is I'm proud of you. That's the most
man. I
important thing,
appreciate it.
man. I'm proud of you.
Proud of you too, man. Well, let's do it again. We'll do it again soon. I'll fix the mic on this laptop. I know what the issue is. I just I didn't have time to go through it and fix it, but it's permission. The Zoom doesn't have permission to use the mic. Man, I know it's wrong. I just didn't have time to fix it. So all right, buddy. Well, man, it's good talking to you. I'm gonna hit the shack, man. I'll talk to you later,
All
buddy.
right. Love you, bro.
Love you too, man. We'll see you, buddy.
Hey, bud.